Hey y'all, hope you've been having a wonderful start to fall. Oh man, where has the year gone? Anyway, y'all, you know the drill. Monthly roundup time. Gonna have a bit of a lighter load this time around since, well, I did just put out an entire movie just a couple weeks ago. Give me a break here and go watch that one. That is, after you check out this latest batch of notable tracks and singles from September 2023.
Do you still dream about tomorrow? Does it look like the one you knew? Does it remind you of the future we won't do?
Alright, here's the thing. If you've talked to me about music at any point during the month of September, you probably have a good idea of what's been taking up my brain space lately. Indeed, the newest album from legendary DIY punk dude Jeff Rosenstock, titled Hell Mode, dropped, and I've been a little bit obsessed with it. Man sure knows how to write hook after poignant hook, and the polished studio production on this one works shockingly well to accentuate the power pop energy and emotional coloring that he's always been so great at. I could have picked a number of highlights from this record, but Future is Dumb is one I've been replaying a bunch lately. In an album full of catchy bangers, this one stands as one of the catchiest, definitely one of the brightest melodies across the whole album. And yet, this is balanced by the open anxiousness of its subject matter, with this working as a contemplation on the everyday signs of climate change. The feeling that we have surpassed all warnings and are now marching toward these inevitable shifts. Rivers are drying up, the sun feels progressively warmer, and it's all out of our control, and to even think about what the future holds for us is, well, terrifying. All this saddled with a sickening thought that we have grown accustomed, even numb to the fear, like a twisted defense mechanism to keep from absolutely collapsing on the spot from unbearable dread. And it's really hard to tackle these subjects without falling into that pit of nihilism, but, well, climate change affects all of us. I mean, it's something I've been thinking a lot about lately, and the song does a great job at maintaining this foundation of strength and community at its center, because we cannot survive through isolation. And that's what I've always loved about Rosenstock's music in general. It reminds us that no one is ever alone in unthinkably dark matters such as these, and we've got a hell of a tune out of it in the meantime.
Driving, texting and driving and texting. I'll be arriving while driving while texting.
After a song that covered some of the universal real-life anxieties that plague us all, let's now move on to something that is not that. I've heard a couple songs from Los Angeles-based pop-punk band GUPPY, and, well, they're a bit silly, in that simple, shallow kind of way. And while working through the 5 layers of ironic absurdism that these kind of indie bands tend to employ could be frustrating, I think Texting and Driving does it all right. First of all, it's catchy as sin, with that circular hook immediately planting itself firmly in my brain. It's mostly just some pretty standard garage rock type stuff, but elements of dance punk and post-punk also tease their way in every so often. Most importantly though, God, this is such a fun song. Skittering dance punk rhythms like this will always find their way into my heart, and there's an array of some absolutely ridiculous one-liners thrown in the mix. Some of my favorites include Texting God in My Head and Why Would They Let a Bitch Like Me Operate Heavy Machinery? It's also deeply unserious, but it's also a hell of a jam. We should absolutely have more silly, absolutely nonsensical music in our lives. Life's just too damn bleak otherwise. Absolutely do not text while driving though, that ain't smart at all.
Cause I really wanna know, will anybody ever love me? For good reasons, without grievance.
It is at this point that I would like to make a confession. As much as I've obsessed over the music of the 2000s, especially that in the indie and folk scenes, I've never really gotten as much into Sufjan Stevens as I've had his contemporaries. I don't mean to imply I don't respect and admire him as an artist. That could not be any further from the truth, and it's because of tracks like these. I meant to cover So You Are Tired last month, but I realized I didn't have much to say about that one. Nonetheless, Stevens' lead into his next album has been really captivating me, so I'm remedying this right now. Will Anybody Ever Love Me is about as blunt and focused as his title suggests. An intense yearning for the unconditional love so many of us crave, having been beat down by betrayals and failure for so long that this craving becomes a deep desperation. And this is emitted through a simple, though extremely effective structure, where the simple guitar patterns at the start are soon embellished with heady percussion, electronic clashes, and even a swelling choral backdrop. And when it climaxes to that textured explosion of its immensely touching melody, well, it's all just so plainly, simply beautiful. Definitely gonna be spinning this one around for a while. If there's one thing you can always depend on me for, it's my absolute fascination with and love for Brazilian music of all styles and genres. And here's something new to slip across your way. I had never even heard of Frango Elétrico until this month, when their song Electric Fish came across my way. Its vibrant bass rhythms and dance percussion feeling extremely reminiscent of the early no-wave flair of Lizzie Mercier de Clou. However, well, you're listening to this one right now, and as you can tell, that description does not apply here. On the contrary, this lies more in the field of sophistopop, with elements of smooth jazz lightly sprinkled across these seductive bass rhythms and Anna's soft vocals stringing everything along. I especially love the backing horns to this one, which feel pulled straight out of the 70s. They're so fun. There's nothing here that's breaking any new ground exactly. You can probably find any number of Brazilian vocal jazz that fits the criteria of this one. But I mean, when it sounds this sumptuous and mesmerizing, who am I to complain? In any case, Anna is a hell of a talent. As of now, I'm still just dipping my toes into the wonderful, vibrant world that they have crafted around them, but I do intend to swim even deeper into these waters, and this new album cannot come any sooner.
You keep your promise to remember without me.
Jane Remover is a name that has been on my radar for a little while, and while I've yet to listen to a complete album from her, I appreciate what she brings to the table. Namely, glitchy noise pop laden with elements of emo and even hyperpop, carving out some truly interesting atmospheres along the way. I gotta give it up for Lips, her experimental shoegaze release from last month, which has only been growing on me more and more with each play. And with that, Census Designated is an incredibly fascinating follow-up. Its energy moves in pulse-like waves throughout the mix, its lo-fi guitars oscillating between soft indie-type strums and more industrial walls of noise. And to top it all, she sounds, well, pained, perhaps a little desperate. It's an interesting experience, as if someone took a standard emo pop song and slammed its layers of instruments into disjointed blocks that pop in and out, but sporadically. And like much of her material, it does take a while for the song to really find its true colors, but at its final third, it smoothly escalates to a climactic explosion of disjointed hums and screams, a solid finishing touch to the emotional journey. Gonna take a little while for me to truly wrap my head around this one, but there's also something so enticing about it nonetheless. It's quite a good piece of music, so perhaps this won't take very long after all. We'll see. And there we have it. Again, it's a short go around this time, but, well, I have an idea for October's video that I'm hoping will make up for this to some degree. With that said, take care, don't ask me about the Olivia Rodrigo album, and I'll see you next time.